Hi there, it's Cassie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have something a little bit different for you today. I am going to be working on Mojo sketch number 507. I used to do a lot of sketches back when I was doing a lot of blogging, and I just haven't done them for a while. But I have found that if you are having a rough time getting your Mojo back, doing a sketch challenge or a color challenge is a great way to go. They have a Facebook page so you can keep up to date there. And yeah, very exciting. So I am using a bunch of papers from Tonic Studios. I got these out of their kit number 17, and I will have those listed down below, but that pink is a pink sunset, and then I have a powder blue lace and a silky sky mirror cardstock. And I'm basically just following the sketch. I'm going to use a white card base that I've scored at 5.5 inches to make a top folding A2 size card, but my mirror base is cut to 4 inches by 5.25. And I'll talk about those pieces as I get to putting them down. For my image, I'm sorry I'm off screen there, but I stamped my little beast guy from the My Favorite Things Beast Friends. And I think this is typically like a Christmas set, but I really wanted to use him for Christmas. I just didn't get an opportunity. So I thought he would also be super cute for just a winter card, which is why I pulled him out. And I have stamped him onto some Express It cardstock using Memento Tuxedo Black ink, both Copic friendly because obviously I'm using Copics here. And I am doing some very basic coloring. I laid down my C1 first in just the shadow areas and on his face and feet and his ears, and then I put some C3 and blended that back out with the C1. And then I'll just go back over some of those areas where I'd done the C1 just to make them a little bit darker. I could have colored him brown, but I wanted him to look like a Yeti. So you could make him look like a Yeti, or you could make him look like a Sasquatch, whatever you want to do. But I made him look like a Yeti, and I colored his cheeks with R20, and then I'm going to color his scarf with R02, and then I'm going to do my darker shadowing over the top with R22. And then I will blend that back out again with the R02. For the mug, I went very simple, colors and everything. For the mug, I'm going to use B00. And then over the top of that, I will use I think it's BG53, yes. So very simple Copic coloring, nothing too fancy there. And then I will fussy cut him out because I don't have the coordinating dies, but I will link those down below. I didn't have cardstock to match, so I decided for my sentiment strip, I was just going to use the R22 Copic that I have, and I will color a strip just to make it good and even, and that way it'll match with his scarf, and it matches pretty well with that pink sunset tonic paper. Those papers are gorgeous, and they are so textured, and I think they're even having a sale right now as of filming, so I will link down below to that for the US. But what you want to do if you do use your Copic is you want to make sure that it's good and dry before you do any embossing over the top of it. So I heat set that, and then I'm going to use my embossing buddy over the top of it to make sure there's no more moisture. And then I will stamp my sentiment using the Versamark ink right over the top, and then I will cover that with my fine detail white embossing powder. And I got lucky. The powder didn't stick anywhere I didn't want it to. So then I will heat the embossing powder till it is smooth and melted. Once that's cooled down, I'm going to trim down my sentiment panel, trying to make sure that that is as straight as possible. So I am using my Fiskars wire trimmer cutter, and because that way with the wire there in the middle, I can see exactly where I'm cutting. And then I'll just trim off those edges, and you would never know that that wasn't a piece of cardstock, except for the edges, which I could very easily go over the edges with my Copic just to make it look more cohesive. And now I'll start adhering all those papers down. So that one measured, like I said before, 4 inches by 5.25. And I do screw up because I had forgotten to cut out another piece for the middle. But this piece right here for the pink sunset is 2 inches by 5.25 inches. That matches the sketch challenge. And I'm using liquid glue, and it's a good thing I did because, like I said, I forgot to put, there was a panel that I was supposed to put in between that Silky Sky Mirror cardstock and the pink sunset. And I realized it here after I put my glue onto my second panel, or that third panel there. And then I realized, whoops, so I cut down another piece of white cardstock, and I cut that down to be 3.5 by 4 inches. And I will just put that liquid glue over the top. And like I said, good thing I used a little liquid glue on the pink sunset, or I would have destroyed it and I would have had to grab and cut a new piece. But I'm just going to reapply that liquid glue. No harm, no foul. You can't tell. And I do have a smudge on that white cardstock, but it's going to get covered by all the other elements, so I wasn't worried about it. Now that panel measures 1.5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And then this I just cut. I didn't look at what the measurements should be, so I just cut that down. Just another piece of white cardstock. And then that is the powder blue lace that I used my wonky stitch circle die on from My Favorite Things. Obviously I'm obsessed with that one right now because I've been using it for everything. And then I decided to use some foam tape on my sentiment strip and on my Yeti as well. So that's just some Scotch foam tape. It's the 3M stuff, and I will link that down below. And then I will adhere everything to the front of the card. But that's not going to finish it off. I do decide that I want to put a sentiment on the inside. So I'll grab my Mini Misty, and I will stick that back inside my Mini Misty. And then I will line up my sentiment. And then I'll stamp that out with some Memento Tuxedo black ink once again. And then once I'm done with that, that'll finish off the card. I decided not to do any embellishments on the outside just because that cardstock that I used, the specialty cardstock, just has a lot of texture and it's beautiful, and there wasn't anything else that was really needed. So if you're new to my channel and you liked this video, go ahead and subscribe. Well, if you're not new, go ahead and like if you haven't done so, if you liked the video, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I do have lots of stuff planned all the time, so I would love it if you kept stopping by. But I'd love to know what you think of this card. Always happy to hear what you guys think. And as always, guys, thanks for stopping by.